that's the first time I think I used a jazz waltz in the show. And then I decided that works really well for Mad Men, especially in The Office, if there's any comings and goings in The Office. Campbell, I call it a Lonely Boy theme, which is very atmospheric and suspended and has a clarinet, and that I hope eating that. It might be a samba. You might say, I want a samba, I want something that sounds like this or that, or a waltz. You know, I need a waltz. So what kind of waltz? And then I start writing, but I don't have any picture when I do that. I just start writing something. And then eventually I get a picture, and then you know, they're in. People can see in the first episode that we see Betty in this season, there's some of that in there, yeah. The sparkler scene, I call it, where the kids are running around with sparklers. That's probably the cleanest version of that music. It's a challenge. Not every episode has a theme or a sound, but sometimes it's very specific. For an example, in this season, season 5, when Megan's parents came to visit, that whole episode had a certain sound that I think was very much belonged to Megan. It had a French twist to it, and in fact we repeated the theme many times in variations, which I think helped the whole episode set a certain tone. And probably that music will group. Well, Two Little Ones are original, you know, because some we were going to buy real music and some I was going to create something for. And then there's a cue, there's a 7 this year, the Megan with her family. The cue that, and you know, Matt Weiner tells me he doesn't sleep. No kidding, it like around midnight, he said, you know, call anytime. I don't sleep, I'll be up. I said, me too.
About something like Pacific Coast Highway, which is more like a song-based type of thing.
Yeah, that, he didn't give me, that was a cue he ordered up prior to the picture. I went to this meeting, he told me, Don's gonna be going to California, I want something like this. It was, I listened to some music from the era, and I wanted to get the right vibe. And you know, Sergio Mendes was an inspiration, and this is Mad Men
anymore.
But luckily they used it for the end credits to that episode. But that I was one of those did a bossa nova, and actually we did 2 versions. And that bossa nova, which is in the end credits, is based on that one theme that Megan's, the theme that goes through, and Matt. So I demoed a version of him. I mocked up the bossa nova that's the end credits, which has had brass and woodwinds. And Matt was like, we were going to play it on the stereo when they're getting ready to go to the ball. And Sally comes out with the outfit. That's what's playing on Don's stereo. And Matt said he sent me his version. But that episode was a lot of fun because we had tuba, we had brass, we had all kinds of things in that episode that may not come out, but it was a lot of fun. Is what we didn't touch on was that, and knowing what music to use and what scenes, it's just as important to know what not to score. And because that carries as much weight as scoring. You know, we should leave that alone. If we score there, it's going to take away from later. So you know, we wait and wait and wait, and then come in at the right moment, on the right. And we talked about the 3 characters, which was Peggy, Roger, and then Don, and 3 separate themes, and that they would come together for the end. And the end credit would be a combination of the 3. And you know, that's a great, on paper I thought that was the way to go. But by the time I finished working on the show, it just seemed like those stories are wrapped up. I mean, why bring those themes back? I just felt like we should stay with it. Ends on Dawn in progress. And you know, so it fades down to nothing as the tempo keeps going. And I think that doing that sometimes makes it feel like it's still going. As we go to silence, the music faded down in progress, and I feel like that has an effect of like, well, it's still. This was when Matt in that same Howard Johnson's episode, Matt was trying to move a cue of mine around, which he does try occasionally. And, oh, move it here, move it there. And then, you know, he said he ended up like, you know, it ended up putting it right back where I put it, and that was actually the right place that it belonged. And I, you know, I love that, because I work a lot on trying to do that, make it sound very organic and fit the picture like it was always there. I enjoy it when he says, he doesn't have to tell me he does this, you know. He didn't have to come up and say, we moved it all around, we ended up putting it right where you put it. I think a lot of producers would never say that. I get the joy when he says to me exactly that. That's like, great.